Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Hey everybody, my name's Michael.
My name's Cleve.
My name's Stephanie.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of Friendship.
Sir?
Well, the podcast that dares to ask, have you ever watched a movie and had to take a double take and look at that bitch again?
So anybody who's a huge fan of us knows that there are a lot of reoccurring themes that come up in the Friendship Supreme timeline. And one is when I decided that I will take a hold of myself and figure out what I decide. Today, I watched Hunt for the Wilder People.
Michael, did you know this was happening?
Nope.
And
No
I
idea.
also watched the first time that Michael reviewed Hunt for the Wilder People.
Good
So I
one.
watched it. I've watched it twice. I watched it once, but without any tainted opinion. And then I watched our episode on it. Then I watched it again.
For those of you that didn't see that episode, we all watched a movie that the other person picked for us to watch because we thought it was such a great movie. Stephanie made me watch Hunt for the Wilder People. I didn't have a very positive review of it.
That's a nice way of saying that.
Mhm.
Stephanie's soul was crushed as I talked horribly about the-
Ripped it apart.
So the best character of the movie, Michael said,
The best character in the whole entire film is the stupid lady, the child protective lady.
No Child Left Behind.
no child left behind. I will say though, I think there's some honorable mentions in that. One is Andy, the cop assistant of hers, the little girl who can't stop talking, and her dad or whoever, because although they weren't in there much, I felt like they were pretty good. Sam the crazy man, who Michael did praise on the first time he reviewed it, the guy who was a bushman.
Mhm.
But I think it's either Andy for me, or it would have to be obviously the auntie. I understand she can't be it because she's in not as much, but I think Andy to me was better than her. She was in it a lot more, but he had these little subtle sidelines and little things that they did that I feel like wasn't appreciated enough. This time, Michael says he refers to Auntie dying.
And like she's just laying in the middle of a field. Like the kid grows on them. You see like there's a bit of time that elapses, and the kid grows on them, and they're all having a good time. He's run away a couple times, but finally like he's like, oh, maybe this is home, and it's supposed to be like this feel good part, and then she's dead.
So she wasn't in the middle of a field when it happened, but she did die abruptly. It was a little misconstrued the way Michael made that sound to me, because I was like, oh, they're gonna like find her in the field. It was Hector who was like crying over her, Sam Neill, which was he chosen for this because of Jurassic Park? Because he also hated kids there.
That's just his character. They're like, you want to hate kids?
He can nail that. I get that. Michael goes on to say,
And so she dies, and the Hector guy was like, yeah, okay, I'm done. Like I don't want you. I never wanted you. I don't want to be a part of this. They'll be here on Friday. Right after the funeral says this. And
Not easy being on camera, is it?
right after the funeral says, I'm done. I don't want you. This letter says they're coming to get you. They'll be here next week.
didn't go that way necessarily. In fact, he didn't say it right after the funeral. There was several scenes before he said anything kind of like that. And then he had the boy read the letter because he can't read. It's something you find out later on in the movie. Hector just kind of doesn't fight it. He just kind of accepts it, like this is what's going to happen. He does tell Hector later, she wanted you, not me, which is true. But it's definitely a bit different than I'm done. I don't want you. I never wanted you. I don't want to be a part of this. They'll be here for you on Friday.
The feeling was there. Look, that feeling was there.
I think you need to go back and watch the movie again, Michael.
To me, I picked up on like in Hector's mind, like it doesn't work without her.
Yeah.
Like none of this works without her. He even gives credit to like the farm. The farm doesn't. She does the farming. I just pick things up and put things down. Like she does everything. Michael gets into the dog killing.
So anyway, you watch the boar, destroy the dog, just ram the crap out of it and kill it. Well, he has to actually kill his own dog. I'm sorry. The boar bangs him up, and then after the boar dies, which I'll explain in a second, the Hector has to take a rifle and shoot his dog.
Hector is Sam Neill.
Yeah, that's literally
Yeah.
the one scene that almost every man in the entire world talks about in the Old Yeller that made them cry. Not this guy, but still it happened. Nobody wants to watch their dog die.
Was
You
it worse
cry?
than the I Am Legend dog kill?
Oh man, I think so.
He at least sent the boy away, which was nice, and they gave him like a nice grave. They didn't like, because Michael made it seem like Hector didn't give a fuck. He just kind of shot the dog and moved on, like kicked it over, let the wolves eat it, and then went on about his way. But I mean, they made like a nice
Might as well
burial,
have.
and I mean, if you don't shoot the dog, then the dog just sits there miserable until it dies. I understand the killing of the dog.
Australia has vets. They're
I'm
not
not-
that wild.
Where were they? They were like in the middle of the bush.
Yeah,
He couldn't fix his ankle.
fair. Dumb.
He is dumb. He can read. I mean, but he can do stuff.
I can do stuff.
Michael refers to the place in the mountains where the sky touches yada yada.
Based on some story she told, he's going to go release her ashes in an area that she dreamed about because they talked about it when she was a kid. Later, you find out, by the way, that she didn't know who her parents were, and that was a lie because she's delusional.
I never picked up her being delusional. I like it was a lie.
Man.
And it was like this sweet story that she just kind of told Ricky, but I never got I mean, as crazy as people that live out there can be, yeah, I mean, it was a made-up story, so credit there. Then Michael said,
The movie's general tone is
Is this episode just fact checking me?
I'm
Michael's on trial for his awful opinion of this movie.
I'm picking
That
look,
is surely what it feels like right now. Like Michael said this. You're fucking wrong, Michael.
had you said anything positive, I would have also noted that. But you didn't, so I gotta go off of what I have.
the movie's general tone is just like, hey, life sucks.
I didn't pick that up. I know it does. But the tone that I kind of got was there's still happiness after like sad things happen. But you know,
Sad things just kept happening. The happy things that can happen after sad things were just more sad things.
but then good things.
But that's
That's
good
it.
thing.
Look,
Sure,
It's
good
this
things.
good things
A tank
sprinkled.
chase. You're right. At the end, there was a tank chase, so that at least there was that.
They were friends later.
Michael said
And this whole story is about them just running away.
that's true.
Yeah, it's the title of the movie.
So here's kind of what I got from it. I feel like, and I don't know what Stephanie's opinion on is it because we've never made her talk about the movie necessarily. More Hector's the main character than anybody else. He's not introduced right away,
Yeah.
but I think the whole movie revolves around him. You
Right.
get this grumpy man who he has his life and he's happy with it, and all of a sudden that gets all taken from him. He doesn't necessarily know what to do with it. He's pissed about it. He doesn't know how to talk to anybody. He doesn't know how to feel about anybody. And then he kind of finds like a second family type thing. That's more or less what I got from it. It's a grumpy old man who loses his wife, loses where he lives, because then they just live in the bush for however long, I think 6+ weeks.
Yeah. I feel like his character has more development and growth than the kid.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid has some character development. He's not catching things on fire all the time.
Kinda.
But like not really.
His rap game's sick.
His rap game is sick.
He still lost his wife. He still lost his wife. He was still in jail. He had to go through all of that because this little shit called him a molester. like it was just...
He was upset.
There was no... Yeah. Yeah. Put a man in prison for 2 years because you were upset.
He did.
He did. I don't
At the end
know.
of the movie, he just started screaming about how he was a molester.
I don't know that he went to jail for that though. It might be like slight kidnapping, right? Because he went to trial, but they never said we went to trial for. If it was for, and they interviewed people, I don't think you'd interview very many people if it's like a molester thing. I think it was pretty.
The kid said it. That's all you need for the
interview.
interview.
Well, then why are you interviewing like the little girl and her friend and?
Well, they can add charges on.
Oh, okay.
Just hey, just to let you know, like running from the cops, tank chases, even murdering people, not bad in like the view of other prisoners. You know what happens if you get labeled as a child molester? It's not going to end well for Hector.
He can take care of himself.
The fuck he can't.
About 3 guys. He's just fine. Michael said,
I don't know how Australian prisons work because I don't know, but I don't feel like he's gonna be fine.
Do you know how the prisons here work? How'd you find out?
Don't worry about it.
So, watch it?
You know what? Like I said, I'm glad I watched it. I forced Katie to watch it. She hates you for this, by the way.
Why? She doesn't like it either?
Katie doesn't do well with sad movies.
But I feel like
there was no part of this movie that was a comedy.
She's still, by the way, like we talked about it today. I brought
that's why we're doing this fucking episode.
Yeah.
There's no part of this that is a comedy. I disagree. I think there are a lot of things to laugh about in it. So as I watched it, I typed out everything I thought was funny.
Because it's funny.
I mean, it's not all laughs, but like
No, it's like that's
it
nice.
Doesn't
like
belong in the comedy section of a movie store. Like if we were to go to Bend, Oregon, and go to the last Blockbuster,
but it's a different kind of comedy. It's not like slapstick comedy. It's like
I think that could be
comedy.
a subcategory. It might not be the first category, but I think it would be like the second one.
Yeah, the main part of the story is
Let's look.
I don't know, like drama, I guess. Drama comedy? I don't know.
Adventure comedy drama.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Adventure
I would
comedy.
go drama, adventure, and then maybe comedy.
Well, you don't think it's a comedy at all.
I feel like drama doesn't even fit, really.
Yeah, it's a drama.
Why? Because people died?
Because they're fighting constantly, like emotionally fighting between the two. The kid and...
Yeah, there's like a lot of
Oh, man.
emotion in it.
Yeah.
So the parts I found funny were the montage of Ricky's bad behavior.
Yeah.
When Hector first shows up and Andy says he's giving the piggy a piggyback, I gave a chuckle. When the mom or when the aunt is like, I left you this, I left you some books, and here's a knife to kill the monsters. Let's see. When he tried to run away and then woke up like in distance to where you can still see the house, his dumb poetry, which is through the whole movie, I feel is great. Like it's such a weird, yeah, sure, let's add this on.
But it's just so funny.
When Ricky sees Bella kill the pig for the first time, and he's like twitching as like the knife is coming in and out of it, and he can't take it. The Ricky Baker song, Tupac the dog is a nice touch. Michael said the first time that the preacher's speech is Taika Waititi. Someone actually did it at a funeral, which knowing that and then watching it, I feel makes it better. Like I don't know if you knew that fact before you watched it or after you watched it, but
Yeah, it was after.
when I'm listening to just the shit he's spouting out, and he's like, there's a door. You know what's behind that door? Vegetables? Like, no, not no.
You know who I'm never mad at is Taika. Like, I'm not mad at him for this film.
No, I mean it's his film, but yeah,
I'm aware, and I think if you grab one of my quotes of whatever, I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, "I can see why other people like it, and I'm sure it won lots of awards. It just wasn't for me."
I'm getting there, man. Calm down. We're not getting attacked.
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't fault Taika for this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it was a good movie. I just
It wasn't your movie.
Didn't hit for me.
I just want to remind you of the good times. When Ricky faked his death and lit the barn on fire, and then it quickly got away from him. When he was in the wilderness by himself and popped his little heating bag thing. I like when he messed up his ankle. First of all, I liked when he mocked him about not being able to read, because the kid gets mocked a good amount in the movie. So when he's like, "What's this? Me don't know. Me don't know words. Me dumb." And then he breaks his ankle. He's like, "Let's get you comfortable," and then just yanks his ankle in the boot out of like the wedge it was in. The fake Walkman part where I guess it was like he was pretending to listen to music,
Yeah.
but really just slowly losing his mind. The line that Ricky delivers when he says, "Hector is Asian." Like, well, they got that wrong. You're obviously white. When he tried to scare the hunters, and he's like, "Shit just got real," and he like reloads it. I gotta laugh. The Terminator conversation was good. When they finally closed in on him, and they're like, "What's the fastest way out of here?" And Sam's like, "Jetpack." It's like, "Do you have a jetpack?" Like, no. Like, what? Like, wait. Okay. And when the social service lady ran up to Ricky after it was all over, obviously, and like everything had done, they had already arrested Hector. She's like, and for a distance, like, we got him. I've got the goods. I had said the percentages on Rotten Tomato at that time. I'm going to look and see if that changed.
Rotten Tomato gives this movie a 96% on the tomato meter, and the audience score is a 91%.
I would say 70, like a high 60s, low 70s.
Maybe it gone down. Maybe it gone up.
They haven't seen the 16 bad reviews I put in there yet. I'm gonna bring that fucker down.
It went up 1% on the tomato meter for 97. Audience is still 91. So, Michael, they're not even seeing your reviews at all, man.
They blocked me. Taika's got a restraining order against me. There's a lot of things going on, guys.
So, okay. Stephanie rated it an
Stephanie, out of 10 stars, what do you rate the movie?
I think it's like 8 out of 10 stars.
Because
I
it was
really enjoy
your
it.
number one movie that
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Michael, out of 10 stars?
Like 6.
think I'm around there, like a 6 or 7. Like, this wouldn't be my favorite movie ever. But like I like Michael saying, like, I respect the movie. It's so funny because as I rewatched that episode, Michael was hard on it. And it was like a 6 out of 10. I'm like
Yeah, when you said that he gave it a 6 out of 10, I was like, did he really? Because I remember him hating it so much. I was sure it was like 3 out of 10.
It's the same with like when like there's an attractive guy in the room. I'm not after him, but like I can look and say like, oh, okay, I get it.
So
I'm just saying, like, I get it. Like, yeah, that's a good movie. I fucking hated it, but it was a good movie. Good job, guys.
Michael said,
Final line. Like I said, no, 100%. Go watch it. It's not.
Are you saying that because Stephanie's here?
Are you saying, yeah, you're saying that because you don't hurt my feelings?
No, I don't think that. I think it was filmed well. I think, like, cinematography wise, I think it was done well. Very much an indie film kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it is.
It is an interesting story, but again, I don't like depressing stories. I try to escape life when I watch movies, so that seems like that's kind of where I take from it. My whole thing about this, the entire time I watched it, was this is the type of movie that wins indie film awards and wins like the Academy Award. Like, this is that
Pandering a little bit?
like that weird, make you feel guilty, make you feel shitty about your life, like somehow wins an award movie. That's what I got out of the whole time. You know what it was? The whole time, it's a type of movie that white people like. Like, I know I'm white and I get it, but this is like that stereotypical white people watch this shit.
I don't know that it made me feel guilty about my life or that my life was shitty.
definitely didn't make me feel that way, which is why I like
My
it.
reference in that is like, like seeing how shitty Ricky's life is, because like he went from home to home,
Okay.
and like nobody wanted him, and even when he finally finds a home that wants him, like they don't want him. So like that's the shitty life that like you currently we have homes and we have somebody in our family that loves us. He does not.
Well, if this film makes you adopt a kid, then it did its job.
Have the rates of adoption in Australia or New Zealand? Sorry, I keep saying Australia. My bad. New Zealand, have they just skyrocketed?
You can only hope, right? That's best case scenario. So the last thing that I have is Michael said
There were sad parts in it because the aunt died because she was super nice. But then this crotchety old
Was
man
still crotchety all the way through the end.
100%.
this. I went back and forth on because I was like, was he just a crummy old man the whole time? So there's a scene where Ricky says, it's early too. He goes, if I had gone missing, would you have missed me? And Hector replies, you didn't go missing, so that's good. That to me, I felt like was I don't have to say that I would have missed you. So I'm going to just skate past that one.
I
feel like he was just putting up a wall and
Yeah,
he wasn't going to admit his feelings.
Also, another thing that happens in that original episode is that Michael references himself to Hector several times. Like, he's just like me. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
He's like,
it's like watching New Girl, and I'm like, fuck you, Nick Miller. Stop being like me. This doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Nick owned a bar. Go on a bar.
Bro.
So,
you want to take that STEMI money and we go buy a bar?
So another thing was because Hector didn't know he was going to juvie if that house didn't work out. Like, right? That's something that Ricky held on to till later on in the film. But when he did find out is when Hector decided, okay, let's go on the run. So he didn't want to just send him, right? He wanted him to go somewhere. And my head was like, I want you to go somewhere where you're going to be better off because it's not with me.
Right.
And
I might remember incorrectly. I thought that Hector was like, I'm leaving, I'm fucking done. And Ricky tagged along. Like,
no,
and he didn't want Ricky to come with him.
Ricky ran away first. Well, so he was like, you're going to go back to the social lady. I'm just going to go in the bush and I'll never be seen again.
Right.
Ricky runs away ahead of time and Hector goes and hunts him down and he's trying to bring him back. And that's when Ricky's like, look, if I go back, I'm going to juvie. And he goes, okay, well, let's go. When Ricky calls himself the Wilder People the first time, Hector also says it, which to me is a nice, like, unified tribal, same team. You could tell they're bonding.
Kinship, yeah.
They put Bella to rest at that waterfall, and Hector thanked him for Ricky for bringing her ashes with them. There is a part where at the very end, when Hector's like, okay, I can't run anymore. I'm banged up. They're everywhere. We're going to get killed. It's over. Like, we can't go any further. And Ricky says, don't take another step. We're family. And he goes, like hell, which was odd to me because all the scenes that I had talked about before that kind of get jilted a little bit by that line.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden it's like, what were you seeing it as before? Or maybe you're just still trying to tell yourself, but to me, that's
even with the aunt being as amazing of a person as she was, like Hector was still not the best to even her. And I don't mean like in a mean way. Like Hector wasn't like outwardly going out of his way to be, but he wasn't loving or affectionate.
I think
like it was almost like he was this like very. He wasn't even like. I don't know. It didn't feel like they were husband and wife or together. It was more like he was just like an estranged like uncle of some sort that just lived with him and he was the crazy person. I don't know.
I feel like I know enough different people in relationships where I'm like, yeah, one of you would be, if I had to assign Bella and Hector to each of you, like I can easily do it. Like I don't feel like I'm like super affectionate and lovey-dovey and stuff like that, especially with Jennifer, especially around people. And I guess we never get to see them alone. The only time that you really even got to see emotion out of him was when he was crying over her, like when she first died. And even then, it was like stone wall after that.
There must have been something like in private between them. Like she saw the good in him because he eventually is
Well, yeah, that was like
not
the
a
thing.
crotchety old man.
The thing that they said was that was her thing, is that she would take these stray dogs and see the good in them. But the last thing that made me think, okay, he wasn't crotchety to the end. At the very end, when he's like, "Come on, let's go together," Hector says a haiku, and then he lets him call him uncle. So at that point, I have to assume that whatever super defense wall that he had up, or prison got to him, it's finally down. Like, but I'm in the same boat. I would give it a 7 out of 10. I wouldn't say it was like a life-changing movie, but I wouldn't deter anybody from watching it for sure. So I don't speak of it as aggressively as a member of the team, but I definitely see it in the same boat. I watched it twice again so that I could see. So I watched it twice so I could take in what Michael was saying
Mhm.
and apply it to the movie as I watched it, and see if I picked up on what he had picked on necessarily. Some parts I did, some parts I didn't.
How about when we just kept calling Ricky fat?
I mean, we did make fun of his weight, but I mean, he instantly mocked somebody for not being able to read immediately.
Well,
The second he found out that they couldn't read, he was like, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot."
it's not often you get a leg up on someone.
I
You're
guess.
fat, you're like, all they got on you, and you're like, son of a bitch.
He still pulled the cute girl. I really enjoyed that girl. I don't know why. It was just like, I guess kids like that. You know what I mean? She's like, people tell me I talk all the time, and I don't have to talk all the time, but I can. But I don't mind it if you don't want me to talk. I won't say anything. I'm like, oh my god. And then the who I don't know if it's supposed to be her dad or what, but he's like, hey, I hate myself if I don't ask. Can I get a quick selfie? And he's like, I got Ricky Baker. And the Ricky Baker song. The Ricky Baker song
was fire.
So what made me decide to do this? Because you had mentioned too that the whole reason they did that is because they couldn't sing Happy Birthday, which is dumb. I still hate that. I said that in that video then, that I hate that. That's the thing.
I think that song finally is not it's not copyrighted or something anymore. Like you can say it now.
You should have been able to do it from the get-go. You can't claim songs like that.
I know. It's dumb.
I mean, Disney, well, we're not going to get the copyright.
Right. I was playing Apex one day when you were out of town, and I was playing with 2 other people, and they were talking to each other like I wasn't there. And they mentioned that the girl who talks when the ring flares were coming sounded like Bella. But he didn't know Bella's name, because who remembers Bella? She died 15, 20 minutes in. So he was like, you know what she reminds me of? And he was like, what? And he goes, Ricky Baker, and starts singing this song in my ear. And I'm like, who am I with? Who are these people? What world have I found in? And I blamed you for that. And so if you feel like
the channel,
if you feel like you were attacked in this episode, I was attacked on that that round. So it only feels fair.
you should have plugged it. Been like, hey, we actually talked about that movie. Check it out.
You know what? Maybe we should just start soloing with trios and just being like, yeah, check out the youtube.com. You just search Frederick Brain, will be right there. It's a New York accent.
And then sing the Ricky Baker song.
Yeah. But yeah, I wasn't as hard on it because there was no reason to be that hard on it.
I encourage everybody to go see it. Maybe we should watch it.
But yeah, no, I mean, I feel the same way. I give it one bump over what Michael did. Michael said it was a slightly above average movie. I'll say it was above average movie. Like 7's not a bad score out of 10.
You know what though? I gotta if I have to put it next to another thing that Taika's done, like
can you name another thing besides
Jojo Rabbit and Thor Ragnarok?
I was gonna say I could think off the top of my head is Thor.
I want to say he did Jojo Rabbit. I'm pretty sure.
Pulling it up right now.
But Ragnarok is pretty good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit.
That movie was fucking stellar. And I couldn't tell you anything about it, but I remember watching it one time and it was fucking great.
The Hitler.
It was also weird. The little kid was imaginary friends with Hitler.
What?
Yeah. Came out in 2019.
Yeah, you should go watch it, Stephanie. If you like Hunt for the Wilder People, I think you'll like this one too. But it was really good.
I think I've seen like
Michael's, if you like this movie, you like referencing the movie that he didn't like.
I think I've seen the like previews for this, but I haven't seen it.
You know what's funny is it's Hunt for the Wilder People and then Thor Ragnarok right after.
Yeah. Wildly different movies. But in fairness, he was being forced in one direction with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, you can still see, that's what I was saying, like, Hunt for the Wilder People was done really well in the cinematography, in a, like, from a film perspective, it was really good. Like, he did a great job of setting up shots and scenes, and, like, it was beautiful. It just, I wasn't on board, but it is what it is. You should definitely watch it if you haven't.
I think
seen
he
it
just
before.
made you feel feelings you didn't want to feel.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Michael definitely wasn't ready for them. And in that video, he talked about how you said Derek just cracks up this movie. So I think that Michael was looking for like Will Ferrell funny shit and didn't get that.
This level of fucking laughter, and
he had opened his arms to like true, like pure comedy, and got sprinkled comedy with some adventure
I still
and drama.
think that fucking at this point, Derek might be the Dexter guy from Dexter. If that's what he was laughing at all the time. But anyways,
he was laughing at like the parts that Cleve thought were funny. Like
the Dexter guy from Dexter is just Dexter.
So you've never seen the fucking show.
I would challenge us to watch What We Do in the Shadows though, because
I've been watching
I've
the
seen that.
show,
I really like that show.
but I have to
Yeah.
like randomly watch it because Katie won't, and I want to pay attention to it, so I don't do it at work.
You kind of have to pay attention to that when
Yeah.
you can't play in the background.
It sucks because I know like it's super not a thing she would get into. I think
Yeah,
Jennifer watched
no.
it with me, but I don't think she cared really too much. I would have to point out like parts that I thought were really funny for Jennifer to be like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched the movie and then I watched the show too.
the movie I'd like to go watch. I've not
Naja
seen
is
that.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Yes, but anyways, let us know if you guys have seen the movie. If you haven't, go watch it. You should give it a shot. It's not bad.
Ideally, this will be the last time we talk about it. This is
Hopefully,
kind of the idea
unless
too,
one of
is
you guys brings it up out there in the comments.
we'll
Because
put
make
the
sure you
nail on
guys
it.
leave a comment down below, hit the bell because we come out with episodes every week. You also can reach us on all of our social medias. Stephanie, what are those social medias?
You know, all of them. You got the Twitters.
See, here's this pitch every fucking episode.
Well, there's Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube.
How do they find us on all of those?
They just search Friendship Supreme, except for Twitter. So
Yeah.
there's no eyes in friendship.
Yeah.
All eyes should be on YouTube.
Oh
Nailed
my
it.
god, Stephanie.
It's as if I said it.
It was beautiful. But anyways, guys, I've been Michael.
This is Cleve.
This is Stephanie.
Shit just got real.
No Kid Left Behind.